Hello, my name is Brian Burnham, and this is Module 7 for EDL 852, Why We Must All Become Digital Citizens. What is digital citizenship? Digital citizenship refers to the responsible use of technology by anyone who uses computers, the internet, and digital services to engage with society on any level. So what's good and bad? Well, good digital citizenship is one that engages young students and shows them how to connect with one another, empathize with each other, and create lasting relationships through digital tools. Bad digital citizenship would entail cyberbullying, irresponsible social media usage, and a general lack of knowledge about how to safely use the internet. Can we teach digital citizenship in our classrooms? Short answer, yes, absolutely we can. According to the article presented by the Applied Educational Systems, there are 7 concepts to digital citizenship if you want to teach it. They are empathy, how the internet works, understanding user data, practicing digital literacy, acknowledging the digital divide, practicing digital wellness, and securing digital devices. So how do we go about teaching digital citizenship? Well, as mentioned, we want to teach empathy. Empathy allows students to learn how people talk online and understand that hearing negative things like that can be harmful. How the internet works allows teachers to explain the idea of the internet. And then when you show students that the internet works via a sophisticated interconnection of digital tools, you set the stage to help them understand the next key elements of digital citizenship as well. In the article, they mentioned a study.com lesson. I've listed that link here in this presentation if you want to go check it out. Understanding user data is extremely important. Students need to be aware of how companies collect their browser information, and in some cases, mine it without their knowledge and sell it to the highest bidder. Consequently, they need to know how important their personal information is and keep it personal. Practicing digital literacy means that a student can read information online and understand what it means, where it originated from, and whether it is accurate. I know there's times when I read something and I'm guilty of just reading the headline, and then I go and tell somebody about something I read and when I actually didn't read it. And then we need to be sure that whatever we are reading, if we do read the whole source, that it's from a credible source and the information that we're telling other people after reading something is accurate. To acknowledge the digital divide, students need to understand the disparity between those who have access to modern digital tools like computers and the internet and those who don't. A common mistake is that students just assume that it's the difference between the United States and third world countries, which is part of it, but in actuality it also involves citizens of the United States itself. Almost 25%, 24.77% of Americans live without access to the internet, and 20% of the population lives in the Midwest across the farmlands where basically internet service is scarce. So there's a lot of individuals who live in the United States that don't have access to the internet. Practicing digital wellness means students have to be taught how to refrain from indulging in the internet and digital media for unreasonable amounts of time. And then securing digital devices simply means students must learn how to secure their computers, smartphones, and more. Learning about smartphone security, VPNs, and antivirus software are ways to secure digital devices. I apologize for that typo there on the screen. That's one of the ones that slipped through the cracks. Why is teaching digital citizenship so important? Well, there's 5 main reasons. Information literacy, cyberbullying prevention, online safety, digital responsibility, and health and emotional wellness in the digital world. There's a quote on the Go Guardian article from 2019 that said, teaching digital citizenship can be boiled down to define, create, and execute. Define the elements of digital citizenship you wish to incorporate into your curriculum, such as the 5 digital citizenship tips listed to the left. Then construct a creative curriculum that highlights the themes you wish to teach. After that, execute digital citizenship principles by integrating them into existing teaching models and strategies. E-rate and SIPA, what are they? Well, SIPA stands for the Children's Internet Protection Act, and complying with it is a requirement of E-rate. What is E-rate? Well, E-rate is a federal program through which schools and libraries can apply for funds to purchase hardware, internet access, and telecommunications to connect their students to learning opportunities. Who's eligible to receive E-rate support? All K through 12 public schools, including public charter schools, all nonprofit K-12 private and parochial schools with endowments less than $50 million, all public libraries, all public elementary and secondary school libraries whose funding is separate from the school. E-rate and SIPA, what are they? Continued. This is from the Harney Education Service District resource. No date was provided, but they gave the definitions and very specific information about the federal laws involved. Obviously, we've talked about SIPA. SIPA, school districts are required by SIPA, remember it's the Children's Internet Protection Act, to have technology measures and policies in place that protect students from harmful materials, including those that are obscene and pornographic. This means that student internet access is filtered. Websites containing harmful content from inappropriate sites are attempted to be blocked. COPA applies to commercial companies and limits their ability to collect personal information from children under 13. By default, Google advertising is turned off for apps for education use. No personal student information is collected for commercial purposes. And then FERPA obviously is the information that protects the privacy of student education records and gives parents rights to review student records. Under FERPA, schools may disclose directory information, name, phone, number, address, grade level, etc., but parents may request that the school not disclose the information. The school will not publish confidential educational records, grades, student ID numbers, etc., for public viewing on the internet. The school may publish student work and photos for public viewing, but will not publish the student's last name or other personally identifiable information. Parents may request that photos, names, and general directory information about their children not be published. And then parents have the right at any time to investigate the contents of their child's email and apps for education files. Why does digital citizenship matter? Mike Ribble wrote a book a few years ago discussing digital citizenship in schools. The 3rd edition of the book discusses how educators are teaching digital citizenship in schools across the country. In the original version, he and his co-author discussed 9 key elements to best use technology in every school. He has since taken those 9 elements and clustered them together into 3 groups he calls REP: respect, educate, and protect. Respect yourself and others group consists of etiquette, which is understanding how technology use affects others, goes back to that empathy part. Access, understanding that not everyone has the same opportunities, so those that do should help those that don't. And then law, specifically copyright, is what they're referring to most often, because students don't understand that information they see on the internet they can't just take and use for themselves. The educate section consists of literacy, which means we need to be able to understand the accuracy of the information on the internet. Communication, knowing when and where to use technology. And commerce, where we're not going to share our credit card information, understanding that personal information is potentially at risk when you put your name and address and credit card information and things like that when you're purchasing items. And finally, protect yourself and others. This group consists of rights and responsibilities where students need to feel safe so that they know that they can share with an adult if something does go wrong. Security. It's all of our jobs to keep our devices secure and safe from online predators. And then health and wellness. Students should establish limits with technology and spend quality face-to-face time with friends and family. What should schools do to prepare? Well, K-12 administrators must make teachers and students aware of safety concerns and then empower students with strategies for being good digital citizens. If we don't teach our students proper digital citizenship, we run the risk of students sharing their personal information, which we've talked about, students using classroom technology for cyberbullying, which is obviously a terrible thing, students searching or sending inappropriate images, and then not preparing our students for the digital world. Students must understand what it means to post things on social media, to like a post on Instagram or Twitter, or even to add a comment on Facebook. In the article, Digital Citizenship, Are Students Ready?, the author, Matthew Joseph, says, a digital presence is not easily washed away. So that is why I say it's not a digital footprint, it is a digital tattoo. I thought that was an interesting quote because it really hammers home the idea of the permanence of posting things online. Schools can get ready. They need to remind, encourage, hold accountability, demonstrate and model good digital citizenship, and provide a culture of yes when it comes to launching digital tools. That's how schools can become ready, digital ready. Should I post this? This is a question that students and adults need to ask themselves, and there's a way to kind of determine if this is something I should hit send with. They could benefit from asking themselves a few simple questions before hitting send on their digital equipment. Matthew Joseph poses those questions here on the right. Number one, what impression are you giving? If this were someone else's post, what would you think about it? What impression would you have of the person who posted it? That goes back to that empathy piece. Do I really want this information out there? When you share something online, you turn over control of it. Even if you delete a photo or a post, you can guarantee that it hasn't been copied. You can't guarantee that it hasn't been copied or downloaded by someone else. That goes back to that personal information and privacy, FERPA situation. Am I oversharing? The more you share, the more people learn about you. You can't control how someone else uses the information. Would I want someone to share this fact or idea about me? And then does it pass the newspaper test? Before you post something online, think, would I be happy to see this on the front page of the local newspaper? I thought those were 5 great questions to think about before I hit send. Here's my references. And then I'm going to post the correlation and things on the post that I put in currents. But I also wanted to show you guys my county where I teach at does not have a set policy. We just have an acceptable use and internet safety agreement. And I'm pulling it up right here. And you can see this here. This is just the agreement that we have and that teachers and students agree to when they use Williamson County Schools. Students have to have a media release before their name or images can be put out in the newspaper or yearbooks or things like that. Email, all WCS email accounts that you use to complete schoolwork are monitored. Social media and other electronic communications listed here. You can pause it to read these. And then student use of personal devices listed, copyright policy. Let me go back to that one for a second.